All right, boys, it's been a while since we last spoke. What's been up with you guys?
No kidding, it truly has been a little bit. I have missed the both of you emo music loving fucks. It's good to talk to you two again, truly. I really needed a break from my good buddy Kim Jong-un. My obsession with trying to fix the guy is really wearing this orange man thin. I'm beginning to think he is unfixable. And let me tell you, I am able to fix anything, especially this country.
You truly are a dedicated friend, Donald. Barack and I always mention that to one another in our private Minecraft calls, but I think this obsession of yours might wear you down a bit, especially if you're planning to run again. Kim seems like a tough man to crack, which I mean, it's good for me.
Oh, believe me when I say this, Joe, I don't understand him. I stopped playing Smash Bros with him due to how much he takes the game seriously. He always chooses Bowser and truly embodies the character as we play. He kicks my ass from North Korea all the way to Mar-a-Lago, but then chooses to complain how I never give him a fair fight. Boys, I tell you, I'm always playing as Peach because he turns me into a little damsel in distress. But sometimes, I gotta admit, I do like feeling like an OP girl boss from time to time. But enough with me. How are you doing, Joe?
Well, for starters, my degenerate bastard son couldn't keep himself out of the news for a while. I have to keep telling the news outlets that he did nothing wrong and how proud of him I am for all his honest work to try and take the heat off of him. Running damage control for this little shit is exhausting, and I was already exhausted. Oh boy, I've been exhausted for so long and I'm about to pass out.
Oh, typical Joe, always lying to the masses. Why don't you just cut him off?
Barack, I can't. That little shit outsmarts me at every chance he can get. It's not hard to outsmart me, except when it comes to challenging me on metalcore facts and lore. Because with that, I always come through. Hence why I call myself the lore master.
I swear to the powers that be, Joe, you are the king of cringe, and boy, have I seen cringe.
Trump, we're 10 seconds into this call, and I'm about to come over there and open a can of whoop ass on you so hard that sad excuse of a toupee will go flying back to your boyfriend, Kim.
You know what, Joe? I think I understand why you have the lowest approval rating of any president. Some say I was more disliked, but I argue I was the greatest president that ever was and ever will be. Sorry, Barack, if you didn't spend your time bombing kids in other countries, you wouldn't be as low as Joe.
Boys, settle down. But you do have a point there, Donald.
I agree with Barack. By the way, Barry, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, if you must know, I've been fucking dudes.
Obama, we already knew that. Bring up something new.
Shut up, Donald, I never knew this. What the fuck?
How did you not know, you blind old geriatric shitbag? I think you need your diaper changed. Are you fresh out of Huggies? You were his vice president for how long, and you couldn't sniff out the insane level of zest this man radiates. All you must have been sniffing is your own shit.
Donald, please. But Joe, how did you not know? I've been fucking dudes for years and have made it so apparent. This was confirmed to be true as it made headlines a few months ago. But as I must divert this conversation away from my love of fucking dudes, since I love fucking dudes and am indeed married to one, we aren't here to talk about that.
I guess you're right. But I am curious about all the dudes you be fucking. We have to have a call later to talk in depth about this.
Okay, Joe, I will fill you in on everything. I just don't want to argue about this with Donald right now. I know how much he loves arguing about this shit, and we need to talk music.
As much as I love arguing with you two, as it keeps me young, especially with me becoming president again, since I need all I can to keep me young.
Sit the fuck down, Donald, and please never get back up. I will remain president of this country no matter how low my approval rating gets, and no matter how long my age says I can't. You remember Weekend at Bernie's? Time for Weekend at Biden's. Except for 4 more years. Buckle up, fucknut.
Boys, I am taking the lead here because if you two keep talking, we will get nowhere. As much as I love arguing with the both of you, we are here to talk about asking Alexandria's newest album, Where Do We Go From Here? Which will most likely lead into an argument.
Fuck yeah, we are. And believe me, we will. Us three can never unanimously agree on anything when it comes to the boys.
That's because you have no taste when it comes to music, Joe. You're stuck in 2008 and are the archetype cringe asking fan who keeps complaining about how asking needs to continue making music like Stand Up and Scream. Please, Joe, explain to me how musical evolution works. Because you fail to grasp that, like how you fail to grasp the reins of this country that I will make great again, believe you me. Now, The question, is Asking Alexandria great again with this album? I know Joe is sitting there stewing in his shit pants, wanting to rebuttal everything I just said like the tasteless little bitch boy he is, but I am taking the reins on this horse as I am the cowboy here. Yeehaw. So can we move on to actually talking about this album? My verdict, it's mid, it's all right, it's slightly above average, and a slight decline from their last album.
Before Joe responds, because I know he is stewing there in his shit pants wanting to rebuttal that, I have to say, what the fuck, Donald? This album was the best thing they've released since like a house on fire.
The best thing they released since like a house on fire. Are you dumb, Barack? There's only been one release since that, so it isn't saying much. But I did not like this album as much as I hoped. It really let me down.
Hey, Barack, he really did forget everything I just said about him? I thought he was going to ream out my orange ass for that.
Wait, what?
Oh boy, this is beautiful. Hey, Joe, did you take your meds before this?
You bet your dried up prolapsed orange ass I did. My doctor upped the dose by triple, scripted me a handful of new meds, and Jill had my diaper changed right before we hopped on call. Huggies Supreme, baby. It's my new go-to. I'm ready to rock. I may have forgot what you said, but I do remember you saying I was stewing in my shit pants. And with that, you are wrong.
Okay, fuck the both of you. Like a House on Fire is my favorite album by the Boys, and I will take no disrespect on the matter. But Where Do We Go From Here is second place for me. It has a tight and cohesive sound that is unlike anything we have heard before.
Not only are you dumb, Barack, but you're also deaf. Unlike anything we've heard before, this is everything we've heard before, you illiterate shit lord. The lore states that Ben wrote this album with the fans in mind and wanted it to be an accumulation of everything that came before it. It was jaded and disjointed, just like me when it gets too late and I can't think anymore.
Joe, you are the dumb and deaf one. When we reviewed their entire discography, you bitched most of the time about how it's not like Stand Up and Scream.
You bet your black ass I did.
Excuse me, Joe, but what the fuck did you just say? That was very insensitive.
Oh, Barack, did Sleepy Joe hurt your feelings?
Actually, yes, he did. The year is 2024, and we are aiming to be more inclusive than ever. With that, it means respecting every single era of Asking Alexandria, no matter how diverse and off the rails they may have gotten. This album had it all. It had catchy choruses, groovy verses, a couple solos, some breakdowns, some genre fusing, and even brought back some heaviness.
You don't know what heavy means, Barack? Nothing about this album was heavy. You pussy-footed sad excuse of an ex-president. May I remind you that before this album dropped that Danny teased so much that they were going to be heavy again. During our last call, when I mentioned that I was having a listening party for their new song, yeah, that listening party ended up in me having a full-on breakdown of my own, where I ended up sucker punching Zelensky since he was there, due to how enraged I was. That fucking worst snot boy lied to us.
How does it feel to be lied to, Joe? Doesn't feel too good, does it, since all you do is lie to the American people? Good on Zelensky, though. Little punk deserved it.
Yeah, Donald, why don't you shut your ass up for a sec and let me cook, because Chef Biden is about to bring some heat. During interviews, Danny goes on to say how people keep mentioning how they want the heavy back, but he goes on to say how there is a lot of heavy on this album, except the people don't even know what heavy means. I'll tell you what heavy means. Shit that doesn't sound like it belongs on the radio or in an arena. I want music to be played in a Waffle House at 3 in the morning when motherfuckers want to rage and eat waffles, to drop tuned guitars, filthy riffs, and breakdowns that make my brittle bones break. I also want to hear lyrics that make me want to sell my soul to Satan for the 6th time as I sniff lines of PCP off of a hooker's asshole sold to me by my degenerate bastard son hunter. Danny is a pussy for selling us false hope, and also a little bitch for thinking his fans are stupid by not knowing what they're talking about. He has this line that goes something like, "Believe in me to set me free." Yeah, more people would believe in him if he followed through with his promises he tries to sell us.
You know what, Joe? I do agree with you on this one, and this is the only time I'm going to do that and actually admit it. The teasing of heaviness was in very bad character, but you need to ease up on everything needing to sound like it needs to be played at a Waffle House at 3 a.m. Did you not hear Nothing Left? For where the boys are at in their songwriting, there was a breakdown followed by an Avenged Sevenfold style solo, which was rather tasteful. Kill It With Fire was the surprise of the record. It was so punk rock that it made me dig out my studded leather patch jacket from the 80s. Melania gave me this feral look when I put it on that she hasn't given me in years, like a cat in heat.
I agree with you, Donald. Kill It With Fire awakened a part of me that hasn't been awoken since that time as well. The boys have a tendency to do that. Just like how the intro to See What's on the Inside made me feel like that thrash metal loving biker I used to be from the 80s again. That was a wonderful feeling. Back in '92, I was really into British punk and would sell bootleg CDs in the parking lots to Denny's on weekends in parts of Louisiana. I would also sell fake birth certificates for people wanting to start a new life or run away from a shady past. I had a pair of leather gloves with 3-inch studs on them and would punch any sad sucker in the face who looked at me wrong. Teaches them for being racist. I used to be such an angry man in the 80s and 90s, but I'm doing much better these days. It's songs like this one that make me thankful for where I'm at now.
You're such a yapping piece of shit, Obama. Dare I remind you of all the countries you airstrike during your time in office? I think you're still as angry as you were. You just know how to hide it better.
Donald, please don't awaken the beast.
Or what, Obama? What you gonna do? Get your husband, Michael, to come kill me with his bare hands and rule it as an accidental drowning just like your chef? May he rest in peace, by the way. I see right through you.
Boys, please, shut the fuck up and get back on track. If I'm being totally G-real, I do like the solo for Nothing Left paired with that breakdown, and that's on the squad.
And if I'm being real, that solo cured my erectile dysfunction.
I'm glad to hear that, Donald. Fucking dudes cured mine.
Mine is still as useless and obsolete as an 8-track.
Barack, we get it. You fuck dudes. You're gay. Big whoop. As a matter of fact, I always knew it. The level of zest you have always radiated has been impossible to ignore.
It makes me feel empowered and relevant again. We need more people of color in the LGBT space in 2024 to inspire others to come forward.
I am a man of being progressive, but holy fuck, Barack, this isn't 2012. Get with the times. I swear you're out of touch. There is nothing significant about coming out these days. Everybody's gay, haven't you heard? Now please let's stop arguing and get back on track for the 7th time. Where do we go from here?
Exactly. Where do they go from here? That is the question. I feel like the boys are at a point in their career where they've hit all the boxes they want to check, and it's brought them to the point the music they make isn't the music they want to make anymore. They're just pleasing fans at this point. Where do they go from here? Back to the basics. The thing I liked about See What's on the Inside and something that was special about their first 2 records was that they were all together during recording. They did this entire album remotely. Who thinks that's a good idea if you're truly passionate about what you're doing? If you're in a band, at least record all your music together in the same room. It brings a level of energy and intimacy to the sound and finished product that is completely unmatched. Does nobody bounce ideas off of each other in this band or hype one another up during recording to bring a better result? Is this asking Alexandria or Danny and the War Snops, the Benjamin Bruce Band? I don't know if I'm old-fashioned, but what the fuck? Is this really the state of music these days?
Is that necessarily a bad thing, Donald? Pleasing fans is what you should be doing as an artist? And the lore does state this album was made to please the fans. The fans are the ones that are there for you and are the reason you are where you are as a band. Doing what you think is best for them is a pretty admirable thing, and to that I respect it. But I do agree with you on that last bit, though. The whole recording, the album remotely, is kind of whack.
You know what, Obama? Yes, but no.
How do you mean, Donald?
Yes, you got to please the fans, but making the music you truly want to make shines so much brighter since it is more unique and true to the band and as a creative. I know you're the cringe lore master, Joe. I wanted to throw up saying that believe you me, but the entire band at this point has basically stated this album was made for the fans. If they made the music they wanted to make, the album would have had more of a consistent and fuller feel to it. Reckless and Relentless is my favorite album of all time, and you can tell that whole album was the music they truly wanted to make as the energy and intensity radiated through every single song. It was fucking electric, baby. Where Do We Go From Here had so many highs and lows trying to please every single fan of theirs that it turned out messier than the last election that was stolen from me. And boy, was that messy.
Wow, Donald, that was rather deep, but you need to let that election shit go already. I do agree with you on that, not the election part though, but the first part, that I can remember what you said but know the context of what you meant, if that makes sense. By making the music you truly want to make goes a lot further in the tests of time and will be remembered a lot more fondly down the line by generations to come.
Joe, what?
I understood what he meant, Donald. And Joe, yeah, that's why I still think Like a House on Fire is their best album and will be remembered as their best for years to come. Fuck your opinions.
Barack, Kim knows the exact coordinates of your house, and I will get him to airstrike you if you keep talking about that godforsaken album.
Yeah, Barack, I agree with Trump on this one. You really have let your taste in music go to shit these last few years. You used to have such a strong ear, but just like you, it has grown weak. You must have forgotten the good old days of your first day in office, but your good old buddy Biden remembers it fondly, unlike most things. It was almost like it was yesterday. We celebrated by watching my vast collection of Roadrunner Records' greatest hits DVDs in the White House, which consisted of the best metalcore acts out at the time. You would talk about how much you loved Early as I Lay Dying, and I thought that was so cool. Killswitch Engage was your favorite band. I remember when your midlife crisis hit, you wanted to be like Howard Jonas so badly that you learned how to fry scream. You would steal your daughter's skinny jeans and pretend like they were your own. Don't act like that didn't happen. You were fairly good at screaming too, just had to work on your gutturals more. Your pig squeals were on fire. Your music taste was based. You were based. Now you are the most basic bitch-made man there is, who is nothing more than a shell of the man he once was. It's quite pathetic.
Times change, and so do people, Joe. We can't stay young and angry forever.
Damn rights we can.
It's called evolution, Joe, which is something I really respect about asking Alexandria. They went from what you and I were when we first got into office, some youngsters full of angst and disrespect, to a bunch of full-time dads who are hard to not respect. I respect dads.
Except for that war snot boy, though, I swear he will never change. Except for the time that he changed from being British to a full-fledged American patriot in less than 3 months. He is what no other American seems to be nowadays. He is what I want every American to be like. But there's just one thing about him these days that I don't understand. He is like modern Bam Margera, and I don't know if I want to respect him or hate him for that. Have you seen the way they dress? There is no way they don't hang out.
Donald, take that back, even though I hate where he brought the band. Don't disrespect him that way, even though I just called him a bitch and a pussy like 2 minutes ago.
I hate to say this, but why is Trump kind of right on that? They do kind of look the same.
Fuck both of you for making me think that.
Danny sure knows how to evolve in the strangest ways. Sometimes I'm like, fuck yeah, Danny. But most times I'm like, what the fuck, Danny? I wonder how much he really cares about the band at this point. One thing I noticed in this record is how much he talks about letting go of the past and leaving it all behind. It's like he wants to forget about everything that has come before their self-titled album.
Nice way of diverting our attention away from Danny Margera. Barack, old buddy, never change. But yeah, what the fuck? I do like his strong dislike for Dennis, though. Sorry, Joe, but lore states how when Danny talks about the days of the black, he refers to Dennis as that kid. And for that, I say, fuck you, Danny.
Dennis made Asking Great again, you can't deny. Stand Up and Scream and The Black are their only good albums. But about Danny's lyrics, that could mean anything, you delusional old fucks. It doesn't mean the music he's previously made with the band. Although I would like to forget most of it, if I'm being honest.
It's not much of a stretch to assume so. They've led a pretty chaotic and messy career up until the last few years, which could be hard for them to look back on. So leaving the past behind them and starting fresh is a healthy way to go.
Yeah, that's why this album is literally a compilation of everything they've ever done until now. Hey guys, what do you think of Bad Blood? Even though I'm fairly indifferent on this album, I fucking love that track.
You know what, Donald? I'm gonna admit it. That song kind of fucks. And even though I said earlier how this record wasn't heavy in the slightest, I take that back because honestly, there's a little bit of heavy on here that grew on me after a few listens.
Yeah, it does fuck. It fucks hard. Unlike you, you dusty old asshole. When was the last time you fucked, Joe? The summer of '69? Or was it the winter of World War I?
Donald, please. Bad Blood was definitely a good song and one of the heavier cuts on the record. The addition of blast beats made me feel things I haven't felt since that summer of '69 when Jill and I first met at the ripe age of 56. Hearing Danny scream again was a beautiful thing. The breakdown was great. Lori states how it was a callback to their earlier music. which I think is kind of a brain-dead take, but it works as a strong opener. Something the boys are good at doing. It's just a shame that with an opening so strong, it led to such a disappointing rest of the record. Even though at my listening party for Dark Void a few months back, which led me to sucker punching Zelensky due to how let down I was, Danny's lyrics of "One More Chance to Fall Asleep" really hit me on a personal level, since I take any chance I can to fall asleep. And I'm pretty sure I put Zelensky to sleep with that punch.
You know what, Joe? That take was all right. You really are my sleepiest guy.
Psycho was actually a personal favorite of mine. Same with Dark Void. That song was written to be a radio song, and boy do I love a radio hit when I'm out cruising with the girls.
That song was trash Barack. Asking Alexandria and the radio should never go together.
Trump, I swear your takes get weaker as the days pass. Some of their greatest tracks have been radio-friendly. Moving On is easily top 2 and is radio-friendly.
Barack, you're so weak for having Moving On in your top 2. What the fuck has happened to you? The lore states how Psycho was supposed to be the anti-socialist of the album, and for that I will never listen to it again. Anything that resembles that song can go die in a ditch, slowly, brutally, in 40 below weather. I know on my last call with Zelensky, he was talking about how much he liked Psycho, and for that, I dislike it even more.
Joe, you really need to stop keeping in touch with that guy. He is no good for you.
Yeah, Joe, Barack and I know what's best for you, and you really need to cut your ties. Please listen to us.
I know, but it's hard. He's a fucking clingy psycho, which is why I think Psycho is his favorite song. It hits him on some molecular level in which I don't understand. It's weird because before I mentioned I liked Asking Alexandria, he talked so much shit about them. And then one day I brought up how Stand Up and Scream made me the man I was today. He totally changed his tone and was like, hell yeah, I've always liked them. He's such a follower desperate to get the approval of everyone else with not much of an identity. It's kind of gross.
You're terrible at choosing friends, Joe.
I agree, but I'm happy I have you guys, though. You're always quick to put me in my place when I need it, and boy, do I really need it sometimes.
We know, Joe, which is why we're there for you. I feel like if we weren't, there would be higher powers trying to control and take advantage of you, especially in the state you are in today. Donald and I can't have that.
Not to you, old buddy. We will always make sure you are in your right mind, even though you aren't 92% of the time, except when you talk metalcore and game with us. For some reason, you always come through strong and coherently.
I honestly think so as well, and couldn't give a damn for when the back door opened, letting the new guy in the way I was out. So, like, what the fuck was that?
Joe, you're doing it again. I think your meds are wearing off.
Fuck. Sorry, boys, Michael's husband is right. The new dose was strong, but not strong enough. Shall we wrap this up?
I think we shall. Remember that perfect tier list we made which resembled a beautiful bell curve?
Oh boy, I do. That was one good-looking tier list.
Well, it's time to ruin that bell curve as we rank this album somewhere in the tier.
Boys, let me pull it up for us.
Wow, Joe, that was quick.
Like I said, talking metalcore keeps me ripe with life, even though the boys aren't metalcore anymore. The effect that Stand Up and Scream had on me will last forever at this point and will always be the driving force behind my sharp mind.
Sharp mind, yeah, okay. Hey, Barack, get a load of this guy.
Donald is right, Joe. Your cap on that.
Speaking of cap, let me put my Lore Master cap on for this one.
Oh boy, here we go. The Cringe Master is back, and I swear once this call ends, you will never hear from me again.
Hear thee, to the powers that be. Where do we go from here gets rated a D. If you have a problem, please take it up with me and see that this album belongs nowhere else, or the master of the lore will come knocking at your door to fucking kill you.
Holy fuck, Joe, I have no words for you.
I agree. That was pretty cringe. A D? This is A tier. This is some of their best work by far, but not their best. And it's better than everything in B tier. So it has to be A. It's only right.
This album is C tier, but I can't put it in the same tier that the album with that little bitch boy Dennis was in, even though I wanted the black to be lower on the list. I can agree to B tier because, for one, I don't want anyone's mouse to touch the whack to move it lower, since it doesn't even deserve to be touched or even fucking talked about. So with that, we leave it B. I think we should stick it into B tier and call it a day. It might fuck up the bell curve, but sticking it into B tier makes it look like a staircase. And at the top of the staircase, we drop off into shit. We descend into the albums that should not be named.
You know, I still haven't forgiven you guys for sticking my favorite album into F tier. Michelle and the girls still haven't forgiven me for that because it is their favorite album as well. And no matter how hard I try to convince them, they think I was the one who put it there, despite me liking the album. I don't get it. It's like they want a reason to be mad at me. Whenever I put it on, it always amplifies our family time and brings the good energy. I don't know how nobody sees what I do in this record.
I don't give a rat's ass on what you think, Barry, and quite frankly, I never have or never will. Your taste in music has gone to shit lately. Your opinion is irrelevant here. Joe, your opinion doesn't count because, like I have stated many times before and many times to come, you are a cringe-inducing asking fan who will never accept, they will never make another stand up and scream again. So with that, I think I am the most able-minded one of us to make a decision here. And with that, it is B tier. I want my staircase, and you will not take this opportunity from me, or I will get Kim to join the call. You took my wall from me. At least let me have my staircase, for fuck's sakes.
Trump, you know, I hate whenever you do this. You always give us no choice in making decisions and always threaten us with Kim. You know we don't like him, and he knows we don't like him. It's fucking awkward and unnecessary.
Yeah, it's really rude of you, Trump. Sometimes you never take our considerations into mind.
And I don't need to. You both are on the flight logs to that island I dare not speak about, so dare I need to explain why your input is irrelevant here? That's what I thought, you disgusting old perverts. I'm getting my fucking staircase, and there's nothing you can do about it. Awfully quiet now that I mentioned the flight logs, aren't you? Where's the lore master and Mr. 92 Louisiana at now?
You're a real piece of work, Trump. You know that, right?
Yeah, that wasn't fair, Donald.
Sure it was, but I need not to dive into this topic any further before I throw up into a paper bag and mail it to you. I have done it before and I will do it again, but please do not ask because I will not tell you when and who.
Staircase it is.
I really hate to do this because you have us in such a compromising position here, but give this man his staircase.
So where do we go from here? I know where. Back to me being president so I can cleanse this country once and for all of you flight log freaks.
You won't take my throne from me without a fight, old buddy. With the new dosage my doctor give me and how I am rejuvenated from my recent 3 hits of adrenochrome, Biden is so back.
Oh, you mean your lore master throne where you sit there with your stupid hat talking in your stupid rhyme?
Don't shit on the lore, Donald. You know how much this means to me.
Trump. If Joe can't have his presidency, since sorry, Joe, you're a terrible president with the lowest approval rating in history and aren't physically or mentally fit, we should respect his place on being the lore master. It's all he has now. When we aren't talking lore and video games, he makes no sense. It's really the only thing that keeps us 3 coherently together, and I really cherish what we have and would like to see Joe around for at least another couple years. It must be exhausting being 132.
Thanks, Barack. This shit means the world to me. Ever since I gave myself the title of lore master, my mind has improved so much. My handlers are still pissed at me for doing nothing to this country and flat out ignoring it. But they don't understand how deeply I flourish when I dive into the lore. I have priorities, and those priorities obviously aren't with this country. Although I will never give the role of president to anyone else. I got to pay the bills somehow.
Joe, what bills do you even have to pay? You're like 150. You'll be dead next week anyways. But Obama, I guess you're right, but I will only let you be right this one time. I cannot let you be right again because that'll make me look bad. But now that we have my staircase built, I am off to dig out that old leather jacket of mine so Melania can give me that feral look she gave me when I put it on last.
Yeah, I have to sign off soon as well. Hunter just bought a new laptop, and I need to make sure he puts a password on it this time so that stupid little shit doesn't lose it again. I swear his memory is as bad as mine. He's obviously not brushing up on his lore to keep his mind sharp, but that boy takes no advice I give him to heart. Sometimes I feel like I failed as a parent, but I mean, whatever. I can't deny, though, it is a little embarrassing every time his stupid selfies of himself doing drugs with hookers gets leaked, because what the fuck kind of degenerate behavior is that? I'm one to talk, but holy shit.
Sorry to hear, Joe. I wish things could be better for you. That also must be why you take your lore so seriously, so you can escape everything else in life and feel like you are at least succeeding with something. I love that for you. The lore part, not the son part. I send my condolences. I love having daughters. But with that being said, Michael, I mean, Michelle and myself have date night tonight. She's taking me for a ride on the back of her Harley to the biker bar we met back in '88. It was her idea, and I just love fucking dudes. We were both thrash metal loving biker bros back then, and tonight we want to reconnect to our roots and bring it back. I always considered her one of the boys until she wasn't, you know? I think that's why our bond is so strong, because she is very strong.
I'm happy for you, Barack. Seeing you and your wife reconnect like that makes this orange man a little ripe in the fields. I hope the same happens with Melania and I when I put on my leather jacket with my best Fonzie impression. People tell me I looked like Fonzie back in the day, but I humbly think, yeah, I did. And Joe, yeah, keep on the lore, bud.
Thanks for the support, guys.
Anytime, old buddy. Well, I hope the two of you have a great night. It's always so good to talk to the both of you. Even though we argue so much, I think it's healthy.
Agreed. Well, Michelle just fired up the old Harley after being out there all day getting her hands dirty, tuning that old thing up for our date. I've been fixing the house up so when we get back, everything will be in order. Dinner will be done, as I have had the roast in the slow cooker all day. I picked up a new scented candle from Walmart that smells like old log cabins. I hope she likes it.
You're so bitch-made, Barack. I hope date night goes well and she doesn't ride you too hard on that Harley, if you know what I mean.
No, Donald, I don't know what you mean, but later, boys. Hopefully we can chat again soon.
Take care, old buddy.
Later, guys. Enjoy your night with the wives. Tell them both I say hi.
Will do. Say hi to Jill for me whenever you see her.
The lore master is yet again all alone bestowed in his throne within Loreland. The people tonight are at unease as the powers that be plan for global domination. They plan to turn the humble people of the lands into subservient slaves of their own doing and ill will. Next, they will rewrite the past and control the future, so the populace hasn't a clue on what's real and what's fake, not if the lore master has anything to do with it. The lore master will spread his lore through the lands to penetrate the minds of the able to unveil all things true and shine a light upon all things false. He will grant them the eyes to see which way is the way of truth as they follow it. Oh shit, I didn't end the call.